Hello. Today we're going to talk about rap mogul Jay-Z and his corporation Roc Nation. Jay-Z was born in the Marcy housing projects in Brooklyn, New York. It was a very rough upbringing. There was a lot of crime, a lot of drugs, a lot of bad influences. And excuse me, his upbringing actually ended up influencing his art form, which was, of course, rap, which ended up translating into a lot of his business influences and things like that. So we'll talk about that later on. But he went to the George Westinghouse Center and Technical Educational High School in Brooklyn with future superstar rappers Notorious B.I.G. Seen on the left, and Busta Rhymes seen on the right. Around this time, he began to sell drugs, crack cocaine to be specific, and this actually is where he got his early initial business education in selling drugs. He's actually quoted as saying, "I know about budgets. I was a drug dealer. To be in a drug deal, you need to know what you can spend, what you need to re-up." He was quoted that in Vanity Fair magazine, and he around this time he actually shot his own brother. Um, I guess it was over what he thought was a stolen ring. So he shot his own brother in the shoulder. He lived, but kind of shows you the tenacity, I guess you could say he has. Um, Around this time on the career front, he battled future superstar and actor L. Cool J, and he performed as the backup man for Big Daddy Kane, who's seen on the right. Around this time, he was having trouble finding a deal with the label. So what he did was he formed his own label and called it Rockefeller Records, alongside Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs. And that he realized that forming this company and this label made it a whole lot easier to deal with bigger entities and to get more business. So he released his next, or his first album, A Reasonable Doubt, under this new label, and it was well received and it was successful, and it actually ended up going platinum. So this kind of launched everything. They started a clothing brand, Rockaware, with Dame Dash, and actually it was later sold for 204 million to a company called Iconics Brand Group. So that was a big chunk of Jay Z's net worth, excuse me, was the sale of this clothing company. He also invested in a company called Carol's Daughter. It was started by the lovely lady you see on the right. It's a makeup company that uses all organic products, and there's other superstar investors that include Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, Mary J. Blige, Jimmy Iovine, excuse me, and Solange Knowles. He co-owns the high-end sports themed club. It's called 4040. There's actually four in the U.S. currently, and there's plans to actually build two more overseas. And they're very very high end. They tailor to the upper echelon of society. But they're really really nice clubs, and they're reasonably successful. So he had a shoe deal with Reebok. Um, an endorsement deal with Nokia. They made this model phone actually called the Black Phone to pair it with Jay Z's Black album, and it came with preloaded content and other things like that, pictures and stuff like that. So that was another very big deal. He had an endorsement deal with HP, where you see the screenshot here. There's a commercial you actually didn't see his face, but you did see his midsection, and there was some really cool graphics. The advertisement campaign actually was very well received, and he was a part of that. Budweiser actually had a music festival with them, and Ace of Spades, which is a champagne, GMC, and then he formed Rock Nation and put the label and some management companies and some other entities, some marketing companies that he invested in all under one umbrella. He signed superstar J. Cole, who's a rapper, who's doing very, very well currently. He's a newcomer, but he really is experiencing immediate success in the industry. He signed Rita Ora, who's a superstar pop singer. Rihanna, another superstar pop singer, Latin sensation Shakira, and another rapper, Meek Mills, out of Philadelphia. He actually was a minority stakeholder in the Brooklyn Nets, and actually leveraged the deal to get them moved to Brooklyn from New Jersey. Um, he did kind of step back from that, but he did hold a corporate role at one point, an executive role in the Brooklyn Nets. But he did step back to focus on some other investments. Bing, he had an endorsement deal with Bing. The Duracell Power Mat, he also had an endorsement deal with them where he did some commercials, some other ads. He did an actual content um, based version of a video game and released it alongside the regular release and as a special edition. And that was a special deal that he had with 2K Sports. Duce is alcohol. He actually mentions him a lot in songs, but he also has an endorsement deal with them. And Cohiba, which is is a very well known cigar company. He has a brand actually has its own signature line of cigars that he made with them. Samsung Galaxy, he actually released his last album, Magna Carta Holy Grail. The same thing kind of with Nokia, where it had preloaded into the phone the album content, and actually helped skyrocket his album, make it go platinum before its actual release date, which was really impressive. He started an actual sports management branch of Rock Nation. He actually manages the careers of superstars like Geno Smith of the New York Jets, Kevin Durant of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Robinson Cano, and Skylar Diggins. And so this all accumulates his wealth, and it puts him right around $560 million, and that's by Forbes. So alongside his wife Beyonce, who's also valued at 450 to 500 million, they're a $1 billion couple at the end of the day. His worst decision, I would have to say, would be Tidal, his purchase of Tidal, which was a music streaming service. It was actually purchased by his company from a Norwegian company called Aspiro for 56 million. It has a bunch of problems going on. Number one, their marketing campaign was horrible. The plans are horrible. The pricing is horrible. Everything. There's a lawsuit. It's just really not a really good investment. It seems to be a money pit, and a lot of people are thinking that Jay Z should probably gonna have to pull out and just cut his losses. So I mean that's probably the worst decision he's made on the business side. The lesson I think the lesson he's learned from this is to I guess do more research, stay genuine. Because I mean, if he's well known to be in tune with the fans, but if he honestly was in tune with the fans, he wouldn't have came with a marketing plan of making rich music artists richer by picking their service. Like that. He would have been more and more prepared on the marketing front. Just did more research and kind of studied the market more and understood what he was getting himself into. The qualities of Jay Z exhibits that makes him a great leader. He makes everyone feel optimistic about their goals, the goals of the company, where they're going. When he started Rockefeller Records, he did it because he didn't have the labels coming clamoring after him. So it had to be something where he had to be driving and pushing himself and convincing everybody around him to say, "Hey, this is something good that's going to be end up being a success for us." He was authentic and he lived the life that he talks about in his music. He lived it. He has a high standard for everything he's associated with, from music to business to everything. So this is the thing about Jay Z. He says, "My thing is, as a person, everything is an extension of me. So everything I do is pretty much an extension of who I am."